So your journey through high school, you went to Midland High, correct?
I did.
What was that experience like?
I loved high school. It was a really cool experience for me. I had great friends. I had great teachers, very supportive teachers that really drove me to the things that how am I trying to say this? My career. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really where you fell in love with writing, correct?
Yes. I didn't realize that I had a talent for it. It was my ninth grade English teacher, Miss Rusk, who said,
Shout out Miss Rusk.
Miss Rusk. She says, I think that you have a pretty interesting talent. And she started entering me in poetry contests and things like that. And so I wouldn't have done that for myself. And through her, she kind of gently and lovingly pushed me into journalism, which is where I met another great supportive teacher, Miss Hutchinson.
Awesome. So you get into, journalism, and that journey really took you to a bunch of different places.
It sure did. Yeah.
So after high school, where did you end up at?
Well, I applied for Western Michigan and Kalamazoo, but it didn't quite work out. And so I stayed around here, and I ended up going to Delta for a couple of years, where I wrote for the Delta Collegiate there.
It's still around. The Delta Collegiate
Yes.
is still clicking. Their office. Have you been down there at all into where they're like what they have set up now?
I've been back a couple of times, but I haven't gone into the journalism office. I think they may have moved, maybe. But I'm still very, very good friends with my co-editor. I actually spoke to him yesterday, and we were talking about going back and kind of see what's changed.
You really should. So I went to the broadcasting program at Delta, and they had just an incredible broadcasting program for being, a small local community college.
Yes.
And you want to talk about the resources. I mean, you've got PBS right in there, but then also just knowledgeable professors. And I was so lucky to study underneath Kim Wells. She's won an MBA. She used to work on news, different news channels, and just had a great career. But they have completely redone that lower floor there on the S Wing of Delta College. I think it's the S Wing. I'm not sure.
I think it is the S Wing.
But yeah, you walk in, you go down the stairs. So the Collegiate is down there right next to the broadcasting area.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
It is super awesome. And just that marriage of that, writing and multimedia and kind of how everything has switched in journalism now can take place in content as well. And it's just super awesome. So I definitely encourage you to head back because they're doing a lot of really good stuff here locally in that journalism space.
I love that they have a whole wing now. We used to kind of share a space with campus police.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so we were, causing trouble. They would always keep an eye on us.
Well, it's like even me 10 years ago, they had us in like an equipment closet, basically. Like you want to get a camera, it's like you have to go in this closet. Now it's like we're featuring the program. And that's really cool because for us, like broadcasting and film, there were some specific tax breaks in effect years ago. And that's when we had like Batman filming in Detroit and all these movies coming in, and Real Steel was filmed in the Thumb. And without those tax breaks anymore, it really kind of switched everything up. So then it became like, what does this career look like and where can we fit into? So it's just cool to see them continue investing in that art piece because people are interested in it.
Yeah, there's definitely a big need for it too. I will definitely go and check it out the next time I'm back.
For sure. Yeah. So looking at journalism, I just think it's so awesome. You said that you moved out to Washington, D.C. at one point in time.
I did. That was my first foray out of Midland. And it was, I worked for a very big company, and it was something I'd always wanted to do. But in actually fulfilling that dream, I realized that maybe that world was a little too big for me. And immediately I started kind of longing to come back home. And so I moved to the D.C. area, but just started moving farther and farther north until finally I just left the state.
Well, and you met your husband in Washington, D.C., correct? And you guys have a daughter, and you guys are all here now as a family unit, but you guys had stops in Knoxville, Tennessee, correct? And like just kind of bounced around until was it surprising to you to say, I want to go back to Midland?
Yes, it was a huge shock. But the way that it happened was, we would come back and visit every holiday, and sometimes during the summer too. And then we started realizing it was just getting harder and harder to leave until one visit. I think it happened right after COVID. We were like, I think we need to move back. And even my husband was saying, we need to move back, but he's never lived in Michigan before. But
he's an honorary Michigander now.
Yeah, but I mean, as much as we visited and he loves it here, he says we have to move back.
So that's amazing. And I think there's a lot of poetry in your story because there's similarities in the way that you moved here and kind of didn't feel that sense of belonging immediately. And the work that you're in now, you're really assisting, providing that sense of belonging for community in multiple different ways. But then also that poetry of your dad kind of looking at Midland as that space to bring the family and choose this area. And then you, surprisingly, did the same thing. And it's just, that's a beautiful mirror of how can we give that gift back. And I think that's just amazing.
Subscribe wherever you consume media. Max Loves Midland is your entertainment, resources, and collective improvement hub for Midland County. Plan your next adventure in Midland at maxlovesmidland.com.